would you do if you found out your fiancée was pregnant and you knew it wasn't yours? Would you expose her, protect her, walk away? In first century Israel, this wasn't just a personal crisis. It was a life or death decision. Because under Jewish law, you weren't just engaged, you were legally married, and what looked like adultery, that could end with stones. This is the story of Joseph the carpenter, and honestly, he might be the most underrated hero in the entire Bible. Welcome back to Christ One Click Away. I'm your host, and today we're diving into Matthew 1 verse 18 to 21. 4 verses that reveal a man facing an impossible choice, a radical redefinition of righteousness, and a name that changes everything. Here's what you need to know about betrothal in Jewish culture, because this is where everything clicks. When Joseph and Mary became betrothed, they weren't just engaged in the modern sense. Betrothal, kiddushin in Hebrew, was a legally binding marriage contract. Vows exchanged, documents signed, bride price paid. In the eyes of the law, Joseph was already Mary's husband. The only thing they hadn't done? Live together, consummate the marriage. That came after a year-long waiting period. So when Joseph discovers Mary is pregnant, and he knows he's not the father, he's not dealing with an awkward breakup. He's dealing with what looks like adultery by his legal wife. Here's the choice. Option 1, go public. The law backs him up. Deuteronomy 22 says adultery is a capital offense. Even if Rome won't let them execute her, a public accusation means complete social destruction. Mary shamed, her family ruined, her life over in a village of 400 people where everyone knows everyone. Option 2, divorce her quietly. Just 2 witnesses, a signed document, and she slips away without a public spectacle. Now here's where it gets fascinating. Look at how Matthew describes Joseph's decision in verse 19. Joseph, her husband, being a righteous man and not wanting to disgrace her, planned to send her away secretly. Did you catch that? Matthew doesn't say, even though he was righteous, he showed mercy. He says his righteousness led to his mercy. This is huge. The Greek word for righteous here is dikaios. It means just, upright, someone who follows God's commands. A dikaios man should uphold justice, but Matthew links Joseph's righteousness directly to his protection of Mary. This is Matthew redefining what righteousness looks like. True righteousness isn't cold legalism that throws the book at people. It's the fusion of justice and compassion. Joseph could have been technically correct and publicly destroyed Mary. Instead, he chose to absorb the cost himself. The gossip, the whispers, the questions, all to protect her dignity.
Sound familiar? That's exactly what God does for us.
But wait, Joseph hasn't said yes yet. He's still planning to divorce her. He's lying awake at night, turning this over in his mind. The Greek word Matthew uses is enthumomai, to ponder deeply, to wrestle. And in that agonizing uncertainty, God shows up. Verse 20. Behold, an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream, saying, Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take Mary as your wife, for the child who has been conceived in her is of the Holy Spirit. 3 things to catch here, and they're all intentional. First, Joseph, son of David. This isn't small talk. The angel is reminding Joseph of his identity. You're in the royal line. The child Mary carries, he's the ultimate son of David, the promised king. Joseph isn't just dealing with a personal crisis. He's being invited into the biggest story in human history. Second, do not be afraid. The Greek literally means stop being afraid. Joseph has been operating out of fear of shame, fear of what people will think. The angel says, trust, not fear, is the right response here. Third, take Mary as your wife. The verb is paralambano, to receive, to welcome, to claim publicly. The angel isn't saying, just don't divorce her. He's saying, bring her home, stand by her, embrace this fully. Can we just pause and appreciate how insane this request is? The angel is essentially saying, Joseph, I know everyone in town is going to assume something scandalous happened. I know your reputation is about to take a massive hit, but trust me, this is from God. Marry her anyway. That takes radical faith. And now we get to verse 21, one of the most important verses in the gospel. She will bear a son, and you shall call his name Jesus, for he will save his people from their sins. Two things here. First, you shall call his name. In Jewish culture, naming a child was the father's privilege. By telling Joseph to name the baby, the angel is saying, you will be this child's legal father. You will give him his identity. You will bring him into David's line. This is how Jesus becomes legally the son of David, through Joseph's adoption. Joseph doesn't contribute DNA. He contributes something equally essential: legitimacy, lineage, and a father's love. Second, the name itself, Jesus. In Greek, Jesus. In Hebrew, Yeshua. It means Yahweh saves. But catch what the angel does not say. He doesn't say he will save his people from the Romans. Most first-century Jews expected a military messiah, someone to overthrow Rome and restore the kingdom. Instead, he will save his people from their sins. The problem isn't Rome. The problem is the human heart, and Jesus is coming to fix that. That's the revolution no one expected. 4 verses, and look what we've uncovered. A man facing an impossible situation who chose protection over punishment. A redefinition of righteousness, justice and compassion fused together. An invitation to radical trust, saying yes when it cost him everything. And a name that tells the whole story. Yahweh saves. Joseph doesn't get much airtime after this. No recorded words, no miracles. Just a quiet, faithful man who stayed when everyone would have understood if he walked away. He's the unsung hero. The man who said yes when it made no human sense. Next episode, we're looking at the prophecy of Emmanuel from Isaiah 7, what it meant originally, why Matthew applies it to Jesus, and what it means that God's name for this child is God with us. That's next time on Christ One Click Away. Thanks for being here. If this hit you in a new way, share it with someone. And take a moment to appreciate the quiet, faithful people in your own life, the ones who stay when it's hard, who trust when it doesn't make sense. Those people are more like Joseph than they know. Until next time, stay curious, stay hungry for truth, and keep digging into the Word.